All right, good evening. It's Tuesday, October 27th, and the pandemic rages on. We got lots of new updates to talk about, to discuss. So we'll start off with 10:25. Currently, so that was 2 days ago. Let's see what's happening. So, Bulgarian Prime Minister Boyko Borisov said on Sunday he had a general malaise after testing positive for SARS2. It would stay at home for now for any treatment, as recommended by his doctors. Now we're seeing a lot of officials getting infected, a lot of higher ups, big businessmen, officers, senators. The thing about it is that you can't really expect them to die because they have access to the best treatment. As we saw with Donald Trump, he got infected and he had just access to all this just top-notch healthcare. It was no surprise that he didn't die, considering what they were giving him. So, like his wife, Stephen Miller, his son, and everybody, all those other people that got caught up in the White House. I mean, if they don't die, you shouldn't be surprised. And you consider the treatments that they have. So anyhow, so France is quite on the spotlight lately. France sees new record as daily infections climb over 50,000 mark. France registered 52,000 new confirmed SARS-2 cases in the past 24 hours, following a record of 45,000 on Saturday. Today is Tuesday, okay? For context, the health ministry said in a statement on Sunday. It also said that 116 people had died from SARS-2 infections over the past 24 hours, compared to 137 on Saturday. Oh wow, that really went up. Taking the total confirmed death toll to 34,761. The new cases brought the total to 1,138,000, putting France now ahead of Argentina and Spain to become the country with the world's fifth highest number of cases after the U.S., India, Brazil, and Russia. The U.S. saw its highest ever number of SARS-2 cases in the past 2 days, keeping the pandemic a top election issue. As Vice President Mike Pence travels the country to campaign despite close aides testing positive. It's really a hopeless situation. They can't contain it. Like this virus, like people are saying it's just the flu, but this virus can do things that the flu could never do. I mean, the flu has never collapsed health systems across the country. It has never killed people the way that this virus kills people on a grand scale. I mean, look in New York, people were just dropping dead in their homes, and they weren't even testing them. It's ridiculous. Hospitalizations are also rising and have hit a 2 months high, and deaths are trending upwards, according to Reuters tally. So far in October, 29 states have set records for increases in new cases, including 5 considered key in the 3 November presidential election. Ohio, which is doomed, and then Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, who is also doomed. Hospitals are strained in several states, including North Dakota, which is the hardest hit based on recent new cases per capita, according to Reuters. Now, people like to say, oh, well, so-and-so state only has 25 ICU beds. What's the panic? Well, guess what? It's not what the virus can do to a state in one country. It's what the virus has done globally. And we've seen a global collapse of healthcare systems. If you bother to check, there are lots of videos of hospitals all over the world, especially from Latin America, of just they can't contain it. People are dying in the parking lots. People are dying waiting. People are dying all over the the wards, the hospital rooms. Bodies piled up in rooms up to the bathrooms. I mean, all you gotta do is do some research and look into it. The city of El Paso in Texas is asking residents to stay at home for the next 2 weeks on the wider El Paso County, and they closed its parks and recreational facilities for 14 days. So Texas, I think, is the first state to go back in a lockdown that hardcore. They sent the I think they got the text, the emergency text, that there's a curfew from 10 to 5, and so and so and so and so. But it just shows you that Texas got hit really hard, and they are on the verge of a second major breakout unless they contain it. But I do want to elaborate on this. This is the fault of people who decide to not take it seriously. This is the fault of people who did not wear their masks right, who decided to party, who decided to have family gatherings. This is the fault of people who did not take it seriously. We look. What frustrates me is that people could have taken this seriously. They could have socially distanced. They could have worn their masks. They could have gone above and beyond because asking for the most simplest things nowadays, it's like you gotta go above and beyond. You gotta get eye protection. You got to shower. You gotta watch out for your clothes, because people were being too foolish to contain the virus and acting too selfishly. Now they deserve this second lockdown. They did it to themselves. It did not have to be this way. Over the last 3 weeks, the numbers of hospitalized SARS-2 patients in El Paso area has tripled to a record 786, according to state data. So all over the world, hospitals are seeing a multiplication of cases that need to be hospitalized. It's happening like really suddenly, and the winter is just starting. It's gonna be a dark winter. Regardless of Biden, it's gonna be a dark winter, and that's the 25th. It gets worse today on the 27th. So we'll get into it. If we continue on this trend, we risk detrimental effects to our entire healthcare system, the city's public director Angela Mora said in a statement. And this is in regards to Texas, by the way, just so because I kind of got carried off on a tangent. For the sake of those hospitalized and the frontline healthcare workers working tirelessly each day to care for them, we ask you to please stay home for 2 weeks and eliminate your interactions with those outside your household until we can flatten the curve. Now, the problem is people do not stay home. There are people who are infected who are deliberately going out because either they don't think it's serious, they don't think it's a big deal, they think they're immune, and they are unaware that they can spread it to somebody else who could be more vulnerable. The World Health Organization's SARS-2 dashboard showed a third consecutive daily record high in the number of new confirmed cases. Nearly half of Saturday's new cases were registered in the WHO's Europe region, which logged a one-day record high of 221 cases. Now, this is big because so when it comes to incubation, we still don't, scientists still don't understand how incubation works. It is speculated that incubation takes much longer than we think. Also, people are saying that, we have more cases. Well, why aren't there more people dying? Well, the answer to that is that we have a lot more young people catching the virus. And the virus takes longer to hit young people. Not only that, all these young people that are getting hit, also suddenly, they're going to spread it to other people. And it's going to get worse. And so, with all these new cases that are popping in, we're going to see devastation November, December, January, probably even February and beyond. And not to mention, we still got super spreader events that are going to happen. Halloween, for sure. Thanksgiving is going to be a disaster. And then there's the Christmas holidays, which is also going to be a disaster. Oh, man. Anyways, an official from China's Zhangqing Health Commission said that 137 new asymptomatic cases have been detected in the region. All of the new cases were linked to a garment factory. Italy reported a new daily record of 21,273 SARS-2 cases with 128 deaths. Health Ministry figures showed on Sunday, up from 19,000 new infections reported on Saturday. Earlier, the Italian Prime Minister, Giuseppe Conte, announced a package of new restrictions to combat the pandemic. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said Sunday that the U.S. is not going to control the SARS-2 pandemic, as cases surge across the country and nearly 225,000 Americans have died from the virus. So the American government is telling you they can't stop this. There's nothing they can do about it. An Antifa member unknowingly infected with SARS-2 took part in protests and handed out food during a popsicle party. Well, first of all, why are they having a popsicle party in Portland, Oregon last week, according to a report? 5 close to Pence test positive for SARS-2. VP to maintain campaign schedule, office says. Now, Pence is probably on hydroxychloroquine. He's probably on treatments. He won't get infected. It's unlikely because he's probably on the treatments. And even if he was to catch it, he has, like I was saying before, he has the best access to healthcare. So we can't really expect people who are rich and prominent or celebrities to die because they have the money to live. Now, the poor and not just the poor, but the poor and the malnourished, now that's a whole different story. Spain orders second nationwide state of emergency. Night curfew amid SARS-2 spike. We'll get back to that. In hot sports around the country, hospitals are reaching their limits. I think this is in regards to America. Yeah. With SARS-2 spreading out of control in many parts of the U.S. and daily case counts once again setting records, health experts have warned that it is only a matter of time before the pressure on hospitals mounts to the breaking point. It's fireworks going off. I don't know why. Now I can hear a lot of cheering. And I bet you it's a gathering when nobody's wearing masks. Anyhow, in some places, it's already happening. Okay, I'm gonna let the fireworks go because they're pretty loud. Still going. I'm like right next to it. Okay, something wants to happen because I can hear fireworks in the distance. It's probably something sports related. Anyhow, being in Los Angeles, it's hopeless, man. Hey, can you guys hear this? Listen to this. There's fireworks all over the place. I don't know what happened. But I'm pretty sure it has to do with sports. The pain of living in a foolish country, man. Anyways, I probably lost track of where I was at. There's still fireworks going on all over the place. Oh, they're right next to me too. Not to mention the smoke can carry the virus. I'm gonna find out why this happened because this is ridiculous. Anyhow. So, hospital administrators in Utah have sent a grim warning to Governor Gary Herbert. Oh, by the way, I already told you today. Anyways, Gary Herbert that they will soon be forced to ration access to their rapidly filling into ICU units, and requested approval for criteria to decide which patients should get priority. The Salt Lake Tribune reported. In Tennessee, the Maury Regional Medical Center in Columbia suspended all elective procedures. Fireworks are still going on, requiring an overnight stay on Saturday to make room for an influx of SARS-2 patients. Most of the facility's 26 ICU beds are already filled. Hospitals in El Paso, Texas, are preparing to airlift some critical care patients to other medical facilities in the state after a record surge of SARS-2 hospitalizations. According to a statement from the University Medical Center of El Paso, Governor Greg Abbott has asked the federal government to authorize the use of a military hospital at Fort Bliss outside El Paso to treat civilian non-SARS-2 patients, his office said in a statement on Friday. The island of Lanai, Hawaii, there's still fireworks going on. I have no idea what happened in LA, but people are celebrating something. Anyways, the island of Lanai, Hawaii, which has gone from 0 to 65 confirmed cases in the space of a week, is so worried about its limited medical resources becoming overwhelmed that it has decided to airlift any critical SARS-2 patient off the island. Though so far no patients have needed hospitalization, the Maui News reported on Saturday. County officials are expected to issue a stay-at-home order and restrict travel to the island starting Tuesday, the paper said. Now, I will take a break from this to say, because I can still hear fireworks going on, and this backs up my statement. So we are seeing here where I live in Los Angeles an uptick of SARS-2 cases. Why? Because people are celebrating sports events. And I am pretty sure that all these fireworks have to do with a sport event. Also, gatherings, celebrations, bars, all of those combined. I am doomed. I am doomed here, man. I should probably prep pretty soon. Anyways, we're now at 10:26. This is Monday's news. The U.S. and much of Europe barreled into the new week, scrambling to confront surges and new cases that threaten to overwhelm hospitals, which is 8 days until the American presidential election. The election is going to be a wreck, man. It's going to be a wreck. There are so many people that have told me here in Los Angeles that this pandemic is going to go away after the election. And I can tell you that after the election, so many people are going to get a rude awakening that this is still here and it's still on their backs. And for a lot of them, it's too late. And it didn't have to be that way. Stock and oil prices dropped yesterday, in response to a continued stalemate in the U.S. over additional virus aid and new restrictions to halt a third surge in cases. These fireworks are distracting me, man. They're setting off car alarms. The virus surge in El Paso metropolitan area has gone so bad, so fast, that local officials are taking drastic action, imposing a 2-week stay-at-home order and a 10 p.m. to 5 p.m., like I was saying, 10 p.m. to 5 p.m. Curfew that took effect Sunday night. In El Paso, the number of people hospitalized with SARS-2 has more than tripled, as I said before, over the past 3 weeks, officials said. As of Monday, the total was 853. Great. Now it's people screaming outside. That's great. Anyways, according to the University Medical Center of El Paso, where the SARS-2 patient count has doubled in 4 days. Newark's mayor says non-essential businesses must close by 8 p.m. daily starting Tuesday. Newark, New Jersey's largest city, on Monday announced at 8 p.m. daily closing time for all non-essential businesses citywide beginning Tuesday. Sports practices and games are being canceled in a section of the city where a recent 7-day average rate of positive SARS-2 tests had reached a 25.3%. Hair and nail salons in City Hall will be open by appointment only, and no one may wait indoors, Mayor Ras Baraka said. Health clubs and gyms must close for 30 minutes for every hour for thorough cleaning. Now about this. These people that work at these gyms are not gonna do good cleaning every 30 minutes for 30 minutes every hour. They're not gonna do it because people are gonna get fed up with it, and too many of them are not taking it seriously. Don't go to gyms. That's basically what I'm saying. Do not go to gyms. Work out at home. Get a mask. Uh, Run anywhere around your town where people don't hang out. It's just do not go to gyms, please. New York's public schools had not yet reopened for in-person instruction, but all sport practices and games in the city's eastward, where the recent positivity rates spiked to levels not seen since May, have been suspended. So New Jersey is who look. So put it this way: New Jersey got hit hard early on, okay, and then it dropped. Now they're getting hit hard again. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's reinfections. I think that people. I think that a lot of people in New Jersey caught it, but it didn't hit them that hard. And over the past months, the virus kept reinfecting them again and again and again, and now it's hitting them hard. Now, why am I saying that? We know based off the studies that I've talked about 1,000 times by now that immunity does not last that long. People are losing antibodies. Second of all, there are so many mutations that if you get hit by a new mutation, you can get reinfected that way. And now, third, though it's not confirmed, it is possible the virus can stay with you forever and then reactivate again. However, there is nothing yet that is definite proof of this. So I cannot prove it to you, but it is definitely a popular theory, among people who are researching it. Now, keep this also in mind. And like I said many times before, coronaviruses do not have vaccines. They have yearly shots. This virus that's going around is a coronavirus. So it means that most likely we're gonna need yearly shots. And even then, that just all it does is boost your resistance. It does not make you immune. And so it's not looking too good for the world. And Europe was the first one to head into a second lockdown, and I think everybody else is going to follow. Kansas counties with mask mandates had half the rate of new infections, a study finds. A new study by economists of the University of Kansas has found that counties in the state where residents were obliged to wear masks in public have seen about half as many SARS2 infections as counties that do not have a mask mandate in force. Now, this is obvious. This is very obvious. So what I'm saying is that yes, this is obvious, but it should mention that too many people do not wear their masks correctly. There's also the inefficiency of CCP made masks. The Communist Party of China has made masks that don't work, and they're selling them in masks to the world. They should be. If it was to me, the CCP should be brought to the UN and charged for genocide for what they're doing to the people of the world. Anyhow, and people who get too careless with SARS2 and oftentimes just keep their masks below their chin or constantly take them off. Now, this makes me very, very angry. This makes me very, very angry. For example, at my job, some employees don't wear their masks during closing hours. Not to mention, people keep touching their masks with dirty hands, using the same mask for days, and putting them in their pocket. The reason why masks aren't working isn't because the masks don't work, but people do not use them correctly. And that's really gotten on my nerves. Honestly. Protests are continuing across Italy against a new round of government SARS2 restrictions, with violence reported in at least two major northern cities, Milan and Turin. Yeah, so Italy is under fire. The people are mad. They're begging for freedom, and I'm saying freedom for what? Freedom to get infected. So Italy is just burning up. They're attacking the cops. They're protesting the lockdowns. No, I get it. The lockdowns are hurting small businesses, but you didn't listen. You wanted to go out. You wanted to party. You wanted to not wear a mask. You wanted to do whatever you want to do, and now you're paying for it. It's your own fault. Some doctors and nurses in Belgium who have tested positive for SARS-2 have been requested to keep working if they have no symptoms. The foolishness behind this. Oh, this is a virus that spreads asymptomatically. This virus spreads while you do not show symptoms. And yet Belgium wants to do things like this. Now, I think that they know this as well. But I think the problem is that their health system is so overwhelmed that they have to take the risks. And in the end, they're going to lose. Mossad brought Chinese SARS-2 vaccine to Israel. Now, that's spicy. Germany is on the verge of losing control of its fight against SARS-2, Angela Merkel has reportedly warned colleagues. In an indication of the growing concern, Merkel brought forward a meeting on additional... Oh, made a mistake there. So Belgium's ICU care units will be overrun in a fortnight if the rate of infection continues. And it has. Italians have been advised against trips to other European countries because of surging SARS-2 cases. Czech government tightened the SARS-2 measures with curfew and retail curbs. The Czech government has ordered a 9 p.m. curfew and will limit retail sales on Sundays as part of a tighter measures adopted to stem a surge of SARS-2 infections. The curfew there's still more fireworks, people screaming. I don't know if you guys can hear this though, but it's madness. I'll figure out what it was, and I'll let you guys know tomorrow why this is happening. Because it's just I'm just at a loss of words at how pathetic people here are. You know, you feel like you're screaming at a void sometimes. The curfew will be in place from 28 October to 3rd November, and will last. It's more fireworks. Anyhow, and will last until 5 a.m. each day. House Minister Roman Pelum said exceptions include travel for work or family visits. Retail shops still running under current restrictions must also close by 8 p.m. and on Sundays, with exceptions including gas stations or pharmacies. Los Angeles County Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferb said on Monday that the county in the past week has been averaging about 1,200 new SARS-2 cases per day. I'll repeat that. Los Angeles County Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferb said on Monday that the county in the past week has been averaging about 1,200 SARS-2 cases per day, up from 940 per day at fireworks at the beginning of October. She calls the increase a cause for concern and a call to everyone to recommit to infection control measures, physical distancing, and face coverings. Been a half hour. I guess we'll go over today's news. And there was a lot to say today. But I'm getting annoyed with all this noise going on. Did the Lakers win? I don't understand. Give me a second. I don't understand what happened. Can you hear the fireworks? Oh, okay, I had enough. Okay, so for today's news. PF Pfizer. I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyhow, will not deliver vaccine results by the end of this month, its chief executive says. After weeks of dangling in the possibility of early coronavirus vaccine results by October, PF Pfizer's chief executive said Tuesday that will now be nearly impossible. By the way, if you can't hear me because of the fireworks, I'm sorry, but they're loud. I can't do much about it. The U.S. virus outlook continues to worsen as more records fall. Again, Texas has overtaken California as a state. Texas. Now that's incredible because California is the most populous state in the U.S. So for Texas to overcome California, that's incredible to me. And then the basement decides to. Yeah. Man, I can hear people outside honking, screaming, hanging out outside. I do not know what's going on outside. All right, let's see, where are we at? I'm sorry you guys are hearing a lot of fireworks. It's really bad right now because people want to get infected for whatever reason. Oh, great. Anyways, I'm gonna have to manually find it. Just bear with me. We're at today's news. Yeah, so Texas surpassed California with cases. They're both almost at 1 million. A sharp rise in SARS2 infections has also strained hospitals across Idaho, leading Governor Brad Little to restore some statewide restrictions to limit the spread of the virus on Monday. The state, he said, had reached a tipping point that required the limitation of gatherings and enforced wearing of masks at long-term facilities. Trump again downplays the pandemic as more than 42,000 are hospitalized for SARS-2 in the U.S. Trump is a joke, and we all know that. A trial of Eli Lilly's monoclonal antibody treatment against SARS-2 will stop recruiting new participants because a low likelihood that the drug will help patients. Cases are exploding in Argentina, even after early lockdowns. A failure, Bonacazzi said. Expectations have had little in common with reality. New York City mayor urges residents not to travel out of the state during holidays. Fewer than a third of New York City's 1.1 million public school students have returned for an in-person learning, Mayor Bill de Blasio said Monday. Belgium has the highest SARS-2 infection rate in the European Union, surpassing that of the Czech Republic, as cases climb and the country debates imposing a new national lockdown. Gatherings held during Canadian Thanksgiving, which took place 2 weeks ago, may be responsible for rising case counts in multiple provinces. A Kansas nursing home where all 63 residents became infected with the SARS-2 and 10 died is being terminated as a medical skilled nursing facility. These fireworks, they're right next to me. I can't even hear myself talk. Hey, give me a second. You guys can probably hear them too. Jesus. Pandemic depression is about to collide with seasonal depression. Make a plan, experts say. Now, we know that the virus affects your state of mind. We know this. It has neurological effects. Lots of viruses have neurological effects. Now, we know that because people were in a quarantine and because they were in isolation, that also affects their mental state. And now we're also finding out that during the winter, because of the cold temperatures and the low lights and etc., that adds to the mental, I guess, disintegration of people. So, what does it mean? What does it mean? More suicides and more chaotic behavior. LA County issues SARS-2 rules for holiday parties, family gatherings, and sports celebrations, citing high risk of transmission. It's simply not safe. On the same day, LA County recorded its 300,000 SARS-2 case and its 7,000 SARS-2 deaths. County Health Officer Montu Davis issued a health advisory for private gatherings and public celebrations. On Monday, she suggested that the recent start of college and pro football, the NBA playoffs, and the Major League Baseball postseason may be playing a role in the daily case increases over the past months. We have all seen the pictures of sports fans rooting for their teams where they're shouting in the middle of a large crowd. And almost no one is wearing a face covering. This is the perfect setting for transmitting the virus, Ferda said. Asking to expand on the issue, Ferda said gatherings of sports fans could be contributing the most to the recent cases. Fans are still prevented in the county from attending sporting events in person, but many still flock to restaurants or other establishments to watch games on TV. Citing the high risk of SARS-2 infection at such events, given the increasing rate of SARS-2 community transmission, Davis said that it is critical that we all take action to slow the spread as we close in on Halloween, Thanksgiving, and the winter holidays. So because people are not using their heads, because people are not using their heads, it's getting worse. And those of us that know better, those of us that are conscious, it's frustrating for us to have to see this. It's frustrating for us to have to see people just being fools and getting infected. And who pays the price? Not just them, but us. Protesters in Italy and Spain clash with police as they call for freedom from virus restrictions. Freedom to what? Freedom to get infected? The far-right group, Forza Nuova, clash. I heard about that too. I heard that far-right groups in Italy were causing the violence. Not the people of Italy, but instigators. Now, keep that in mind. Not that's something that people don't know. So keep that in mind. The far-right group, Forza Nuova, clashed with police in Rome on Saturday after a demonstration to protest the overnight curfew and hell's dictatorship. Orange people passing by. They're not wearing masks. What do you know? And they got children with them. That's sad. See, that's one of the things that makes me mad about this virus. It's not just killing the old, it's crippling the children. There are lots of children long haulers. So the CCP has made a virus that is crippling our children. And people just don't care enough to do anything about it. It's sad, man. It's really sad. And the fireworks are still going off. And they're very bright. Just not the people. In Spain, hundreds of demonstrators are gathered in Barcelona on Monday to protest the nighttime curfew that came into force a day earlier as part of Spain's latest state of emergency. The protest ended with some demonstrators clashing with police officers and burning trash containers. And on Tuesday, Spanish doctors have staged a nationwide walkout to protest work conditions and hiring policies in the country's public healthcare systems. Hospitals were able to continue operating with minimal staffing. The doctors plan to repeat the protests on every last Tuesday of the month until the government increases resources. Officials have imposed the country's harshest restrictions on part of England's north, including the cities of Liverpool and Manchester, with pubs, gyms, and some other non-essential businesses closed. But local officials have feuded with the government on providing lifelines for the region's economy, while some residents have taken issue with seemingly contradictory rules. France deaths jumps to 23, the highest death toll since April. President Emmanuel Macron will give a televised address on Wednesday evening as French authorities explore fresh restrictions to curb the spread of SARS-2. The number of SARS-2 patients in French ICU could reach the same level as during the peak of the first wave in April, in 2 weeks without new measures, a government spokesman said. Nearly 200 airports across the UK and Europe are at risk of going bust within months due to the dramatic collapse in air travel caused by the SARS-2 pandemic, the European Airports Trade Body has warned. Nearly 500,000 people in the U.S. have contracted SARS-2 in the last 7 days. Let me repeat that. Nearly 500,000 people in the U.S. have contracted SARS-2 in the last 7 days, and that's still considered underreported. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is predicting a tough winter as a second wave of SARS-2 infections engulfs much of the country, saying the pandemic sucks and calling it a horrific national tragedy. Wisconsin has broken one-day state records in SARS-2 deaths and cases as state officials told residents to stay home, wear a mask, and implored them to cancel travel and special gatherings. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune has been hospitalized. Tebboune was previously self-isolating due to contact with cases of SARS-2. A statement from the president's office said he will continue to work from the hospital. Italy registers highest death toll since mid-May. Italy registers 221 SARS-2 deaths on Tuesday, the highest daily toll since 15 May. Sweden registered 1,870 new SARS-2 cases, the highest since the start of the pandemic. People keep hailing Sweden as problem solved, but Sweden has the highest deaths, one of the highest deaths per capita. They just broke records in new cases, and they are putting restrictions on Sweden. You cannot use Sweden as an example. It did not work for them. It's not working. It's going to get worse. And then in the end, we're all going to laugh in their faces. Spain's wine region, La Rioja, shuts restaurants, bars for a month. This was the latest move to try and contain the second wave of the pandemic in Spain, which has had a nationwide curfew in place since Sunday, while a growing number of regions have banned people from entering or exiting their territory. Russia imposes a nationwide mask mandate as its foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, heads into quarantine. So Russia is shutting down, putting a curfew, putting on masks, and then their own president does not want to shut the country down, even though people are just getting infected, dying in mass. Not to mention that they have so many excess deaths because there's a cover-up going on. So Russia is doomed. They're really doomed. There's not much I can really say besides that. So Russia recorded 16,550 cases today, the fifth day in a row with more than 16,000 new cases. The government also reported 320 SARS-2 deaths, a single-day record. Russia is doomed, I'm telling you. Mexico City's mayor tested positive as the city grapples with a surge of cases. And again, Mexico has severely underreported their cases and their deaths. It's much more than what's officially been told. New York. Students at all state University of New York colleges and universities must test negative for the virus before leaving campus for Thanksgiving break, officials announced Tuesday, or they could face possible suspension. Louisiana. Are masks still required in Louisiana? Lawmakers say no. The government says yes and sues. So the U.S. only has 3 counties left that have not gotten infections. Only 3 counties in the whole country. And they're remote. They're like very remote. Arkansas, in Arkansas, their government's getting infected. In Arkansas, it's getting pretty bad. Greece is announcing possible lockdowns because they're getting too many new cases. In the beginning, Greece is one of those areas that they contained it at first, but they eventually lost control. And last but not least, Poland's Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki on Tuesday called for an end to the mass protests over abortion rights, saying the demonstrators were disregarding massive risks from the SARS-2 pandemic. Poland has seen 5 days of nationwide protests after a ruling by a constitutional tribunal last week that amounts to a near total ban on abortion in the predominant Catholic nation. Poland Poland has been seeing a surge in daily cases, with more than 16,000 reported on Tuesday. The country has reported at least 80,000 cases in the past 7 months. So all I'm going to say is stock up. Make sure you have food, supplies, water, uh, just, uh, what are they? First aid. It's getting bad, man. It's getting bad. Europe is the first to get hit. I predict it'll spread throughout all the countries. Just stay protected, stay safe, buy masks. Uh, Surgical masks are decent, but they're not that good. I would move up to KN95 because it's better, even if it's like a counterfeit type. It's still better, but it's just, like having a front seat, seeing all this, it's just devastating because it didn't have to be this way, and now it's just terrible. It's just terrible. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Remember, I do this entirely for free. I don't make a penny doing any of this. Feel free to share, subscribe, ask questions in the comments, tell your friends, tell them, hey, there's this guy on the internet that's lost his mind. He's trying to document this whole SARS2 thing, and it's Tuesday, man. I don't even know what's gonna happen by Saturday, or by Sunday, but it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really bad. But just stay safe. So like I say, just stay safe, stay protected, and you will survive. And take that vitamin D, boost your immune system, and keep watching Kevin McClure. That also help. And I'll see you next time.